Now, I'm not gonna really go into detail exactly on this next bit. I'm gonna make a separate video of that. But remember, I was saying I'm saving that 2x6 for a reason, and I kind of put it over there. I think I've got another 2x6 down here. That's a 2x4. I think there's another one over in there, and I've got some nails here and stuff. I'm gonna put that in the wall over there. I'm very shocked and surprised that there's no post in there, and the reason for that, I was looking and see all of my floor joists are running from left to right, aren't they? And these are called TJIs, and they're kind of like an I-beam up here. And those are the ones that they generally install nowadays. Years ago, when I started getting into construction, they only had like, you'd use 2x12s up there, and depending how long the spans are and stuff. But see, here's one right here, a little piece of the I-beam, and it's just plywood, a bunch of plywood pieces sandwiched together, glued, and then it's dadoed. There's a notch right in there. You see that right there, where this middle section goes up in there, and they glued it all together, and then that's just OSB plywood. Isn't that something? That can span. Look how far these are spanning. They're spanning probably, oh, I don't know, 16 to 18 feet right here. I've not measured it, but that's kind of a long distance. And I was looking the other day, and I was like, hey, how come they've ran these this way? Boom, 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 boom. Why didn't they just take some other long TJIs like this and run them over here? And I was looking on the plans, and I thought, oh, that's right. There's an exterior wall here, but then the floor bumps out over that like a bump out, like a bay window type area. And that extends beyond this wall. That's why they had to take these floor joists and run them from here, and it's cantilevered over on that. Maybe 2.5, 3 feet, maybe 4 feet even, you know, going beyond that. And that's why they had to do that, and they ended up running them into this beam. And you see this beam here, it's just, again, it's just plywood. It's plywood pieces, quite amazing. It's probably 3/4 inch plywood, and it's glued 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 5 pieces in here. There could be 6. And then they've dadoed, they've splined it all together, because, like, see this piece here? See how it goes? They splined it together, and each individual piece is like that, and they don't put it in the same spot, obviously, or else it'll weaken the beam. And this beam goes all the way through here, and that's what holds up all these floor joists on joist hangers nailed to this. But I started looking at it, and I'm like, okay, you see, this beam goes over there, and there's no post in the wall. Can you believe that? See there? This beam sets. It's just set right on top of 2 2x6s, the 2 plates. There should be a post underneath that, like a 4x6, because these are 2x6s in the wall, so they should have put a 4x6 in there, and continued it from the plate on down to the mud sill. That would have transferred the weight of this beam all the way down to the concrete and the mud sill down here. Okay, well, they didn't do that, did they? Isn't that something? Inspector, bad Mr. Inspector, he missed that one. He missed that one for sure. You're not supposed to do that. And so I'm gonna find another 2x6, and I'll nail them together and put it in there and use that as a post. That'll transfer this weight of this beam. Because see, right now, if you look at it, all of this floor here, half of this floor, from half of this beam on over that way, is transferred. The weight is transferred over to there, and the other half of this beam, boop, 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 is transferred to the weight over here, going on down. And when I looked at that, that's kind of funky too. Look at, there should be a post underneath this. And it's just, here's your 2 top plates of your 2x6s, and then they've got a piece of mud sill just on the side that's holding up the end of the plate. There should be a post in here, right here. See, well, they didn't do it, did they? They just didn't do it because there's nothing underneath here. They would have had to put that post all the way down to the floor. I'm going to take a 2x6 and I'm going to set it on top of this concrete, or maybe just above it. Put some nails underneath it or something like that, because you're not supposed to have Douglas fir touching concrete, okay? And I don't have a piece of mud sill plate. This is mud sill. It's green. Years ago it used to be redwood, and see, they put all these puncture marks in it all through here, and you can kind of see them. And then they saturate this with some stuff that's called like creosote. Years ago they put creosote in there, and they saturated this. And you see how this bottom one is here? See all those lines? Boom, 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 boom. And then there's more of those on this. Okay, so they do that, and that's the plate that touches the concrete. You're not supposed to have any Douglas fir down there. So I'm going to put a 2x6 here, and I'm actually going to raise it up a little bit. I'll put a couple nails underneath there, like I say, and then I'll nail it to this, and I'll push that right up to the plate. That at least will give it one 2x4 on here. You know, would these double 2x6s ever break? Probably not. But in hindsight, I would be better safe than sorry to go ahead and put a 2x6, nail it on here, and do that. You know, they could have taken that beam, they could have moved it over a little bit and then put the joist hangers on and run it across. I don't know why they didn't, but they chose to do it this way. You see, that beam just stops right there. It doesn't go through any further. It stops right there. Goes across and it stops. It stops up in there. And so, see, that's why I need to put a post there. So I'm gonna do that later. And like I was saying, the weight is transferred. All the weight of the floor is on this beam. And so if you split the beam in half, let's say the middle is about there, all the weight from here that way, it's transferred to the end point. And all that weight is just sitting on that double 2x6 with no post underneath that. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? And so that's why I'm gonna go ahead and put a double. I'm just gonna nail two 2x6s together, put it down there. That'll transfer the weight off of the wall, because that could break, it could sag, it could, who knows what it could do technically, and you're not supposed to do that. If I put the posts in there, then it transfers the weight, but instead of on the wall, it'll transfer it down to the plate, and the plate is right down next to the concrete and it won't go anywhere. Okay, that's how you figure that out. And I was looking on the plans, and the plans aren't very explicit. They should have had a diagram, a detail on the detail sheet that showed this area, that there was a post there, and that it went up to hold that beam. Well, there's nothing on the plans. There's this beam is called out, the size of it is called out, so they knew what type of beam to order, how tall, how wide, and all that kind of stuff. So they got the right one, they got the right joist hangers to put on there and all of that, but they forgot to put the post. Shame, shame, shame. Yes, of course I brought my knee pad too. I keep swearing I'm going to throw this thing away, but it's still going, and it works out perfectly down here when I'm kneeling down and stuff. And you know what? I brought my cell phone down here too, and I didn't bring a charger, but if I needed my charger, I would have brought it down here. If I was going to be down here most of the morning, most of the afternoon or something, if my cell phone started getting low, because I like to play music, I could play music. When it gets low, I could charge up my phone. Down here, all kinds of good reasons why to have an electrical outlet down in your crawl area underneath your house. Of course, I got my gloves on, brand new spanking new gloves. I got my earplugs in. I got my back support on underneath my nail bag. Okay, I got my knee brace on. I even got my glasses on, my protective eyewear. Do that, and I got earplugs. And if you don't have any earplugs, take your toilet paper and put it in your ears. Works out good. And you know, of course, I got my throwaway paint brushes. This one here, remember, if you've been watching all my different videos, I've been using this forever. It used to look like that, now it's like this, and I was going to throw it away, and I thought, nothing doing. I could probably use that for something, and I'm still using it. And I'm getting ready to continue my project.